Bad news for Alex Jones. A judge has ruled that he is liable for damages done to the families of the children who were killed in that 2012, I should say, Newtown massacre. That he spent any number of different hours on his show implying were not true, that the families were lying, causing them to be hounded and have to move out of their homes multiple times. It was an absolutely unimaginable horror heaped on top of something that was already unimaginably horrific. But Judge Maya Guerra Gamble earlier this week issued her ruling for default judgments against Jones in 2 different cases, meaning that he will be liable for damages, and a jury will now be convened to determine how much he'll owe the plaintiffs. So we don't know exactly where this will end up. We do know that in some of the prior cases, the dollar figures have been pretty high, and so it's really going to come down to each family and how many families there are. But we want to remind you of some of what he subjected these people to. So Media Matters has done a compilation of him talking about Sandy Hook, about the shooting. It is over 7 minutes long. They did a small sample of the larger thing. We're only showing you a tiny bit of that, but here's some of what he said.
Sandy Hook, it's got inside job written all over it. Sandy Hook is a synthetic, completely fake, with actors, in my view, manufactured. I couldn't believe it at first. People just instinctively know that there's a lot of fraud going on. But it took me about a year with Sandy Hook to come to grips with the fact that the whole thing was fake. I mean, even I couldn't believe it. I knew they jumped on it, used the crisis, hyped it up, but then I did deep research, and my gosh, it just pretty much didn't happen.
Yeah, and when you see that stuff, like most people watching our show, I would imagine if you're watching this, you don't watch Alex Jones. You might have the idea that, yeah, he's crazy, but it is difficult to actually imagine telling your audience over and over that not only did the government fake this in some way, it was a false flag, but that it hadn't actually happened, that the kids didn't die. The parents are lying. They're not actually parents. The kids are actors. And then they got their audience worked up to go and hound the families that had lost their kids for years. And so it has been a long-standing, many years now, legal attempts to get some sort of justice, to stop him from doing it, to get money for it. It took until 2019 for him to acknowledge in a sworn deposition that the shooting was actually real. And you could probably guess about what percentage of his audience got that message after getting 7 years of his lies. But anyway, Brett, I don't know. Does this seem proportionate that he's going to pay some money after all this, after getting rich off of this sort of content?
Well, I like the way that it came about is that he just wasn't, they were like, sorry, you didn't disclose information to us that we asked you to. So I
for years, yes, that he was supposed to.
So like, I'm sorry, and that's it. And that central theme of I really don't care, do you, permeates all of this. Like a couple things. One, like this idea that he gets to get away with certain things that, like, just because he's crazy, and when I say crazy, air quotes crazy, I don't think he's actually crazy. I think he's kind of crazy in that when it's convenient for him, he operates under the guise that this is just entertainment. But the way that he gets people to pay attention to him is to convince them that this is not at all for entertainment. This is all accurate. It's news. This is the real news.
I'm revealing the truth.
Is fake. That's frustrating. And then with the government conspiracy stuff, it's like, which is it, guys? Is the government so thoroughly incompetent that everything they do is a disaster and we shouldn't give them any money or resources or anything like that? Or are they so wildly competent that everything we think we know is a lie told to us by the government? Like, which is it?
Simultaneously, yep. It's amazing, but this is what you do. You get your people hopped up on an ever increasingly purely crazy narrative of the world. You convince them that you are the only person that will tell them the truth about what's actually going on. And by listening to you and accepting the truth you've revealed to them, they become better than everyone else around them. And that's what they do. It can be with stuff like this. It can be, remember the Seth Rich stuff for years, the family begging people to stop lying about the murder of their family member. This is what happens. It's disgusting, but at least he's going to have to pay some money. That will not make the families whole. The deaths alone, let alone years of trauma as a result, can't be erased just with some money. But hopefully it will help at least a little bit, and maybe it will cause him to not do this to future people. So we'll see.
And these are laws, dude. These are laws. You can't just decide because I'm an entertainer and it's convenient for me that I don't have to tell the truth about this stuff. Like there are laws that exist that you're going to pretend don't exist, and I'm sure everyone's like, oh, he just gets to say it. This is a freedom of speech thing. It's like, but no, these are real laws that like I'm sure if someone that, by the way, he reportedly takes advantage of to sue folks all the time when they talk trash about him.
Yeah, exactly.
For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.